Hi there, I'm Mark. A few weeks ago we ran a fab little series finding out how you were making working from home work for you. Now we've been reaching out again to get an idea of how the media and marketing world is adapting to this whole new situation that we've all been getting used to from a business point of view. Now, new business agency Ingenuity London is perhaps unique because it works to match global brands with marketing services agencies, and then they create a whole new series of future business opportunities. The pandemic and lockdown means it's not easy to meet face to face right now, so we caught up with Ingenuity founder Chris Kemp on a video call. And I started by asking Chris, what was the biggest challenge facing the company right now?
The obvious biggest change has really been the kind of remote working. So we have a staff of about 50 people, and we did a couple of test days actually when all of this was looking like it might happen. And I think the actual physical thing of just not being in the office has been the biggest change that we faced. And of course, kind of goes with that the kind of face-to-face meetings that as a business that not only have we been not being able to set for our clients, they've taken over the form in video, but also pitches that we run as well have not been that face-to-face and that kind of, we spend so much time talking about human interaction and chemistry. And I think you can get somewhere over a video, but it's obviously harder than it is from a face-to-face point of view, but it's still easier than just a cold call or a call from someone that you've never spoken to. So yeah, I think the obvious biggest change has actually been, the kind of mechanic of what we sell as a business is to try and generate face-to-face opportunities. And we've had to slightly change what we're doing there. And the obvious thing of just the teams not talking to each other in the same way as they used to. That said, from a positive point of view, I think the communication in the team has been absolutely excellent. We've had kind of all the teams have had their own little groups every morning and every evening. They've been incredibly proactive and productive in what they're doing. And I think the communication's been great. And I think actually, you can get to decisions quite quickly and people can crack on and, essentially be, can make things happen quite quickly and take that responsibility on.
Where are you seeing the biggest challenges appearing throughout all that?
As a business, we obviously sit between this world of helping agencies to help them grow, but we also do a huge amount of work with brands to help them navigate the landscape of who they should be working with, and obviously running kind of face-to-face events to bring all together and creating content and creating a platform for these two communities to kind of emerge really. I suppose the biggest challenges in the short terms have been down to budgets, in the sense that, both with agencies are being scrutinised what they're paying because brands are scrutinising what they're doing. So, the obvious thing is there's been a shortening and a changing of the landscape of budgets. And there's anyone who hasn't been affected by that in the marketing world, and, for incredibly obvious reasons. But I think what it has done is it has allowed some people to realign and look at their budgets, in the sense that, clearly things like experiential, that's gone out for now. But within that, a lot of that money's been replaced into content and social, and a bit more latterly back into influencer. I think influencer didn't get much money spent on it at the start of it, but I think that's beginning to change recently. So I think, the big challenge we've had for us and our clients has obviously been the budgets. But, I think that the challenge is always the always challenge is to try and get cut through and to start relationships with people. And I think that challenge has now become a different challenge, and actually quite in a positive way, because I think what the good agencies have done is they've used this time to brand build and to help the brand community rather than to just try and sell to them. And I think that's been really, really beneficial for a lot of brands. The brands that have gone out there and created positive messages and done the right type of research and done, barometers in terms of how a brand is affected and trying to give, good solutions, have done very well out of this period.
And this is a thing that the entire marketing industry is having to face right now, is addressing these, perhaps in a group form, albeit in a virtual sense, how you address the future opportunities of events and experientials and other marketing campaigns that require sort of a group focus, if you like.
I think if you look at the marketing industry and how much it's changed in the last 5 or 6 years, and the advent of, digital and content and social, and how that's kind of changed the rules of engagement and the type of agencies out there, and and also the variety of what the kind of more traditional agencies now do. It's changed dramatically, anyway. And I think these things are just evolution. Obviously, what's happened here and now has brought this to a fore. But there's, marketeers will just find new and different ways to create communities with their customers or their potential customers. We're not spending, less time. We can still finding lots of ways to engage with brands, and I think brands will have more of a purpose play, but brands will have more of a utility to play in our lives, and they will try and be more helpful as a result. So I think I don't think they wouldn't be particularly good marketing agencies if they're sitting there and thinking, oh God, we haven't got any ideas or things that we can sell. They could, good agencies are at their heart strategic and creative, and they will find what the consumer wants, and they will find their materials that will be relevant to those consumers. So I'd like to think that a lot of marketing agencies and brands will find new and different opportunities.
When if everything eventually does return to some kind of normal, are we just going to go back to the old ways once this is all over, or is this a mold breaker?
I think things always evolve. I mean, I think that what's happened in the last couple of months is certainly the biggest change in my career in terms of running a business. Ingenuity is 15 years old in August, and I'm hoping I can buy lots of people beers on the 1st of August to celebrate. I'm hoping that there'll be the odd pub open by then. I don't think it will go back to normal. I mean, I think that question is obviously a very big question, but I think it depends what you're describing as normal. I think when you talk about normal in terms of pitch processes, I think they're change. I think that there will be more projects than ever for agencies. I think that the importance of having great partners is always there, but I think even more so on the other side of this, and I think people will have more great partners. Actually, I think I see this as an opportunity for brands to work with a bigger array of creative talent, and I think that will change. I think the way that the creative community will work will slightly change. I think that there will be agencies won't probably be set in stone in the same way. Clearly, they're not going to be working from a 9 to 5. They're going to be a lot more flexible. I think they have different types of talent. I think they'll pull on those talents from different places because they might be able to get, I know this happens anyway, but they might be a brilliant art director in Argentina one moment, and they're working someone in Sydney, or they'll be working someone in Brixton. They will be able to put on different talents. So I think the opportunity for the creative industry is fantastic. But yeah, no, I think it would definitely change. I mean, as for Ingenuity, I think we've had to embrace change. We're doing something that's really exciting as a business at the moment in terms of, I go into too much detail, but more initiatives that we're doing with brands directly to really understand what they're looking for, because I think brands will go through such a big change in the next couple of years, and we want to really help them navigate essentially the changing landscape that they're going to face. So that's really exciting. So no, I don't think things will go back to normal, but what was normal, I think that has always evolved. And, people would talk about what a normal ad agency was 15 years ago compared to what it was 5 years ago, what it was 5 months ago. So.
And finally, just assuming you were sane to begin with, how have you managed to hold on and get through all this?
Lots of wine. I think people have drank. I think you normally start drinking on about Tuesday now rather than Wednesday or Thursday. No, I think it's been nice from a human point of view to be spending a bit more time with my family. I've seemed to be working as longer hours ever work, but the odd 10 minutes here and there, and then time in the evenings has been great. But I think that the team have been fantastic. I think one of the challenges I have about when everyone talks about flexi working and things moving forward and how you work as a team, I think it's important you don't lose that culture, because we've been going for 15 years, and I think in the last 2 or 3 years we've really gone for it from a cultural point of view. Probably if I've made mistakes, I haven't invested in that enough as I should have done when we were growing the business. But actually, we've really seen that culture come through in the last couple of months because of what's happened. So I think that's been the biggest thing is that knowing, some days have felt a little bit like, right, you wake up in the morning, you're going into battle a bit today. But knowing you've got great people around you has really made a difference. So, and I think a lot of businesses have seen that, a lot of people have seen that. And even some people, we having to make a few furloughs just because of the type of business we are with our event side. those people have been brilliant as well. They've been in communication, they're making sure the business is doing well. So yeah, I think that the team around you really, really helps.